abide by the spiritual tendency and not be carried away by material tendencies. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore sung Miche Maya Rabashe Yacha Bheshe Khacha Habudubu Bhai. My dear brothers, you are being carried away by the waves of material nature and are suffering in many miserable conditions. Sometimes you are drowning in the waves of material nature, and sometimes you are tossed like a swimmer struggling in the ocean. As confirmed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this tendency to be battered by the waves of Maya can be changed to one's original natural tendency, which is spiritual, when the living entity comes to understand that he is eternally Krishna Das, a servant of Krishna. जीव कृष्णदास ऐ विश्वास करले आर दुख नाई, करले तार दुख नाई. If instead of serving Maya under different names, one turns his service attitude towards Supreme Lord, he is then safe and there is no more difficulty. If one returns to his original natural tendency in the human form of life by understanding the perfect knowledge given by Krishna himself in Vedic literature, one's life is successful. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च. श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे. नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामने गौरत्रिषे नमः. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः. पञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 153, text number we are reading from. Not a single living entity can remain unengaged even for a moment. One must act by his natural tendency according to the three modes of material nature, because his tendency forcibly makes him work in a particular way. .5 same sloka is there. Bhagavad Gita. except the last meaning is the same. नहि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत कार्यते यवश कर्म सर्व प्रकृतिर जय गुणे. सर्वः प्रकृतिर जय गुणे means born from his nature. Same. स्वाभाविक बलात्. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something even for a moment. And Prabhupada says it is not a question of embodied soul, embodied life, but it is the nature of the soul to be always active. Sometimes people may think, here he said that Jatu Tishtatya Karma is only for a conditioned soul. No. Even for liberated soul, activity is there. Mayavadis think that now activity is there. After liberation, you will not have activity. You will sit down, do nothing, or merge. Always the nature of the soul is to be active. And Swabhaviki means coming from the natural. Swabhaviki means natural. But this conditioned state is not natural for us. So what is Swabhaviki in conditioned state is what is coming from his previous life. It appears that natural. Like somebody is a drunkard, it's Swabhaviki for him to immediately see the wine and drink. He doesn't even think twice about it. That is called Swabhaviki for a conditioned soul. These modes are acting on everyone. Combination of these three modes makes one to act in a particular way naturally. And therefore, people in this world don't want to change. They don't want to become Krishna conscious. Why? Because they have to change that, go against that natural tendency under the modes. Then what is the problem? Problem is that this natural tendency acting under the modes leads to sufferings. Or sometimes you may appear that I am free to do anything. I am free to smoke, I am free to drink, I am free to move around. But this so-called freedom under the modes is entangling and giving so many sufferings in life. Birth, old age, disease and death is continuing. So one has to understand that this so-called natural life is not actually beneficial for us. One has to change this into his original consciousness. Now under this, we are having so many conditions also applied. And so many botherations also are there. We are not free. We are acting as per the dictation of these modes. We think now I want to do these things, but it is actually modes are pushing us. The mind, which is forcing practically everyone to act. When the particular desire pops up in the mind, one gets fascinated by under these modes, and one thinks that okay, if I fulfill this desire, I will become happy, joyful. And it may happen also immediately, some pleasure may come in life. But the consequences of that pleasure, Krishna says, is suffering. What is that shloka? Dukkha yone evate. Yahi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yone evate. That material pleasures, they are for short time. And that leads to miseries. People have this tendency to enjoy, and this whole material world, Maya is making so many arrangements, varieties. But all these varieties in the creation of Maya, they are sources of misery ultimately. We want change. Everybody wants something new. But actually Maya is offering same things in a different ways. Ultimately everybody is doing his eating, meeting, sleeping, depending only. Prabhupada says new bottle, old wine in new bottle. No, nothing new. We have been doing it life after life, in different shapes of bottles and different colors of bottles. So same thing is there inside. Mhm. And it leads to misery eventually. Dukkha yoni. Yoni means birthless actually. Dukkha yonaya evati. So every material pleasure follows so much troubles, sufferings. But still, because of the modes acting, person becomes fascinated. That is, who cares for the future? Let me now enjoy. Eat, drink, be and merry now. So more one thinks that he is free by such actions, more one is controlled by the material nature rather than getting freedom. And one doesn't realize that. It appears that natural for us now. For so many things we feel natural. Let me not do this, let me do something else. You know. But we have to check whether what I say or my mind says is as per the instructions of the scriptures, Guru, Sadhana and Shastra. If we just act based on what my mind says, it may give us a flickering pleasure for some time. And especially when you are practicing Krishna consciousness, because it is not natural for a conditioned soul. With lot of pressures one way feel while practicing also, doing so many austerities, chanting 16 rounds, not eating outside, following 480 principles. All this, everybody is doing all these things outside, and we have also been doing earlier, and we want to go against that. It's like flowing against the current. So naturally there will be pressures built. But then, because the bhakti path is to take us to the natural state, if we do it in the right spirit, these pressures will not just keep on building, rather that one will find liberating experience from all the other pressures in life. But if we just do it half-heartedly, mechanically, and especially with holding a false ego, then it becomes just a botheration. All these pressures will build on us, and one wants relief. Morning program, I want to go and sleep. Relief. From services, so many services, I want to get rid of it. Sometimes it happens like we are doing so many services and it keeps on bothering, so much of pressure on us. Actually, services means one should do joyfully. But sometimes we only build a pressure upon us. What will people think about it? What will this person say, that person say? We keep on building material pressures upon us. Instead of doing it to please Krishna, Maya very expertly makes us to do it for our own pleasures, egoistic or sensual pleasures, and therefore it creates so much of botherations and pressures. Actually, every devotional act should liberate us, make us free from this material world, and take us to Krishna more. But if it becomes a material activity, then one gets completely confused. I am doing so much. Why am I getting frustrated in my life? Sometimes we have this, in a term, this people get blooped. Bloop means you put a stone into the water, bloop sound comes. That means person sinks down in material world again because of getting or fried out. You say, person became fried out. Because if one is doing so many services, but one is not spiritually getting nourished, then the services cause so much of burning experience. So it's always challenge for sadhaka, that how to remain engaged 24 hours and at the same time it should be burning experience or frying experience. Rather it should be joyful experience. Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says this is a joyful process. Krishna also says that. Susukam kartam avyayam. Kevala ananda kanda. So it may be frying experience for our uncontrolled senses and uncontrolled mind, but it should be joyful experience to soul. So unless one is always trying to remind that I am not this body and I am not this mind and senses, okay, they get tapasya. Tapa means what? Fire. Tapa. Tap. So this fire should burn the impurities in our heart. It should not cause a burning experience to us in that sense. We should be able to happily see that, oh, my impurities are getting burnt out, not I am getting burnt. That's why when voluntarily, Prabhupada says voluntarily accepted inconvenience, that is called tapa. So that voluntary spirit is gone, then you feel that I am getting burnt. The soul can never be burnt, we learn it. Nayanam chindanti shastrani nayanam dahati pavaka. Sorry, nayanam chindanti shastrani. Pavaka. Naklaide and Dyapo. The soul's nature is that you can never be get burnt. But because we identify ourselves with body and mind and senses, we experience that I am getting burnt by all these things. How this tapasya can be a very joyful experience. I was just hearing the Srirangam deities of Lord Ranganath, how they were brought here on the earth by the great tapasya of Ikshvaku, the ancestor of Lord Ramchandra. Because this deity was actually in Brahmaloka, Lord Brahma's personal worshipable deity. And this deity's pujari was Suryadev. The Lord Brahma had appointed the sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan's son was Manu, Vaivasvat Manu. So Manu was taking care on behalf of, and later on it came to Ikshvaku. But then Ikshvaku, all of them were so attached to the deity's worship, Brahma, Vaivaswan and the Manu. But Ikshvaku had to rule this planet Earth, Ayodhya. So when he was thinking that actually I will not be able to go, and not only that, I can go now, I have access, but my descendant will come, they will not be able to go and take the benefit of worshipping the Ranganath there. It will not be possible in the future for them to go to Brahmaloka from here. So he was very much desiring that the deity is brought here on this planet. So he was performing very severe austerities for that. What was the austerities was, he was sitting in the hot summer and putting 5 kinds of fires around him. And in a day he was meditating. It was not like Vishwamitra's austerity. It was a great devotional. It had such a love and devotion for Ranganath. And in the rainy season also, he was just in open rains, he was performing austerity. 4 months, summer 4 months, winter 4 months, rainy seasons. Winter he was going, submerging himself into the chilled water at Himalayas, Gangotri, and there he was performing tapas. But his whole meditation was on Ranganath. So at that time the Indra, king of the heaven, he was alarmed. Such strong austerities. He was thinking that he is doing it forgetting my asan, Indrasan. That is nature of attachment. If you are attached to something, everybody is thinking about I on me. Paraphernalia, along with the Kamadev, Apsaras, Ramba and Menaka, not Ramba, Urvashi and Menaka, all these. So these people were sent to disturb the austerity of Ikshvaku Maharaj. So they all came and they were trying to create an environment. And when the Ikshvaku Maharaj opened eyes and he saw all of them, he saw the Urvashi and we saw the Menaka, he, he just offered them obeisances, understanding they are guest. Atiti Deva Bhava. Guests are the representative of Lord Narayan. So he started offering them respect with Padyam, Argyam, all these things, receiving them with so much respect without having any tendency to enjoy. Generally, when you do a lot of austerities, whatever little austerities we do, what is our austerity in comparison with Ishwaku? We want some relief, some enjoyment after that. We want to have some nice feast or whatever is relief, somewhere we want to release. You know. But here, who came for giving happiness, material pleasure was the best of the Indras people, Kamadev and all the Apsaras. And there, he just offered them, he received them with great respect. And they were embarrassed actually by saying, they came with a different mood. And then saw this Ishwaki was so humble. And he had no such desire to enjoy at all. And what they did was, he received them so nicely and with great respect. And first, actually, when he started offering the obeisances, Kamdev was angry. He shot arrows on him. But still, those arrows did not make any impact on him. Arrows of lust, 5 different kinds of arrows. And seeing this humility and such a attitude, even Kamdev everybody was pleased with him. So they all blessed. Continue this austerity so that Ranganath comes here. But Indra again became angry. Indra came, nothing happened. So he used his thunderbolt. And the Ikshvaku Maharaj just prayed to Ranganathji. And the Sudarshan Chakra came and counteracted the thunderbolt. Indra also then realized that. So he also came down and blessed him like that. So the austerities are done in a wonderful mood of seva. Then that will make our heart soft and more Krishna conscious. They will not be a burning experience for us. Any activity. We need to be always active. And therefore in Kali Yuga, our body and mind are not so much. We cannot imitate such austerities of great souls. But whatever austerities have been told to us by Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if we do those austerities will turn into very joyful experience as our hearts get purified. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, whatever prescribed number of rounds. Following 4 Vedic principles, serving whatever capacity we have. We don't have to do beyond our capacities. We can do beyond our capacities, but again, that should be a voluntary and joyful experience. We should pray for that. If we just do based on our mental and egoistic pushings, then the voluntary spirit is sometimes killed by this. Mind and senses wanting the material pleasures out of it. So therefore, every activity, soul needs to be active. If we don't act in Krishna consciousness, by default Maya is going to engage us. There is no third thing as such. Sometimes devotees think, now let me take this back step, let me just relax for some time, let me take off. Then I will become Krishna conscious more seriously later on. There is nothing as in between Maya and Krishna. Taking off means taking shelter of Maya, going into Maya for some time. One devotee came to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada asked how the life is going on. Prabhupada is going on nicely. Sometimes I go in Maya. Prabhupada said, you are always in Maya, sometimes you are in Krishna conscious. So, we are not Krishna conscious activity doing means by default we are serving Maya. Krishna devotee means 24 hours. One is remembering Krishna or is chanting Krishna's name or is thinking about Krishna, is serving Krishna physically. There is no question of having any space for Maya. येन केन प्रकारेण मन कृष्ण निवेश. This is an art, yoga karma su kaushalam. You don't have to be 24 hours working just hard physical activity, but we need to engage our mind and senses all times. That's an art. So sometimes we have to do physically, sometimes we have to do mentally, sometimes we have to do verbally our activities. But we have to make sure that every time our activities are connected to Krishna. And we did not find Krishna, non-Krishna conscious activities to get us release from. There is no question of release. We are trying to get release from Maya, not release from Krishna, to go into the Maya. So we need to see where we are going wrong, introspect. When we are getting some opposite experience in our lives, then we have to introspect, just like Vedavyas was introspecting. I wrote so many Vedic literatures, Puranas, Vedas, still I am not satisfied. Why? Such a great exalted personality also was thinking about it. His Vedavyas is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And by that introspection he could understand to some degree. Then again he is reconfirmed by Narad Muni that lack of in his writings was not Krishna consciousness was so much emphasized. And because he was thinking to attract all kinds of people to read Vedic literatures, accommodate everybody, so he spoke a lot about Karma Kanda. And this was pointed out by Narad Muni also, that you have not glorified Lord sufficiently. And devotional service also sufficiently. Then the Vedavyas says back, oh no, I have glorified in Bhagavad Gita. Mahabharata I wrote, that I say, what I say is that some shlokas, Man Mana Bhav Mat Bhakto, that I have said about devotional service. Bhaktya Mama Bijanati Yavane Ashtasmi Tattva. So it's not that I have not glorified devotional service. Narada said, yes, that's all right, but not as much as you have glorified Karma Kanda. How much you have glorified Karma Kanda and other things. But devotional service somewhere, little bit. Comparison to that, even whole Mahabharata also is fine. Devotion, Bhagavad Gita is a very small part of that. The whole Mahabharata, a lot of other things are spoken. Dharma, Artha, Kama, those things are spoken a lot. That's why it's very appealing to the Stri Vaishya Dvijabandhunam. Stri Shudra Dvijabandhunam. It will be more attractive to the people who want to enjoy material life. Mahabharata is. Why? Because there are a lot of such things are spoken. How to do politics, how to do this, how to have enjoyment. Gita is there, but who reads Gita in Mahabharata? A lot of other things are there which are way more attractive. So therefore, you write a literature now where there is no other things are mentioned here and there. Pure Krishna consciousness. That he wrote at the end, and then the Vedavyas felt very satisfied by that. The Srimad Bhagavatam is Amalam Puranam. There is no any diversion anywhere else. There is no confusion if somebody is reading Bhagavatam. Of course, the Mayavadis are expert. They can twist that also. That's another thing. But for common man, it's a very clear message. Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Puran. So the Swabhaviki for the conditioned soul is always to do something else than Krishna consciousness. Natural. But the sadhaka means he is always endeavoring. And more we are actually having humility, prayerful attitude, and we are taking shelter of Krishna in all our activities. All this burning experience of material nature will not be experienced. Krishna also says it's tough in the material world, in the conditions for a conditioned soul to practice devotional service or spiritual life. So time to time I also sprinkle devotee's life very wonderful experiences, so that he is not getting burnt by these experiences. In 11th chapter, 12th chapter, somebody said that, canto. It's always struggle to deal with one's mind, senses. But the problem is that if we too much identify with ourselves, with the body and senses and ego, especially false ego, bhakti can become very, very wonderful experience if we somehow are able to give up this false ego we are holding on, which is actually last knot. If we don't offend Vaishnavas, if we don't criticize Vaishnavas, if we just humbly accept things in our lives with prayerful attitude, ask Krishna for tolerance, then the bhakti can be very joyful experience. Because it attacks on the base of this material existence, from where the material existence starts. I am the enjoyer, I am the controller, I am, the ego, false ego, misidentification, or I am so great. That's why Jeev Krishna Das Ei Vishwas Karale Ar Dukha Nahi. If some other one is convinced about this, if I think I am so great, when one person thinks misidentification with this material body, false ego. This false ego is misidentification. That means it makes you to imagine that you are great. You are not small, 1/10,000 tip of a hair, that you forget. I have got this huge body now. I can do any damn things in this material world. Although in this material world also, this material human body also is small. Anytime anything may happen here. But because we have got intelligence to understand things and to manipulate things, and sometimes people hold big positions like chief minister, prime minister, or some demigod, and you get such a big influence, and you think that I am so great now. How we can think you are great? By identifying with this material facilities and material body. But once this body is taken away, then you are again that small spark going around here, searching for another body. Very humiliating experience. Parabhavastavad abodhajata yavanna jigyasam atma tattvam. It's very, very, very painful experience. Death is. Imagine Hiranyakashipu dying with all his powers finished. You are so proud of those things. Separated from the body. Because the body is, all powers are coming. Separated from the body. Nothing is there with him now. That's why death is a very, very painful experience for the conditioned soul who identifies himself with the material body. Because from this body, he is trying to gather all the resources, all the identification in this material world. But still that false ego doesn't die. Although it is humiliating experience and very, very, parabhavam is very defeating experience. Defeated by the energy. But still, one has that hope again. Look for another body. Because false ego has not yet gone away. In fact, because of the false ego is a humiliated, frustrated false ego. It's not accepting the reality. When you accept reality, then your subtle body finished. Dead. Subtle body also dead. You are liberated from this. I am like this small. I am dependent on Krishna. Why should I try to gather all this material strength and boost myself? If one accepts one's own nature and accept that I am servant of Krishna, then there is no experience of death, and there is no need of accepting another material body. Subtle body remains with false ego, therefore one has to look for another gross body. Depending on one's desires and how much is deserved, one will be given accordingly, next body. So therefore, those who are trying to act that I am free, mind they are getting tossed. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here that, my dear brother, you are being carried away by the waves of material energy and are suffering many miserable conditions. Sometimes you are drowning in the waves of material nature, and sometimes you are tossed like a swimmer struggling in the ocean. Maya rabeshe yachya vaishe. Kacha habu dubu hai. So you are actually getting tossed. If you see your life from the broader perspective, beyond this life, every life we are being tossed. Where we were in the past life, we don't know who were our parents, which place we were born. We have forgotten. Now, present life, we are so absorbed. But if you just take out yourself and observe your many lives, past and future also, you are just tossed. From this body, you are tossed. Where we will get another body? We don't know. From different bodies, we are getting tossed. Just like you kick a football, and who is kicked goes up, another person kicks it, goes somewhere else. That's how this conditioned soul has been tossed like this. But this for one life, we take it so seriously as if this life is all in all. And that's why we don't want to see the whole thing. That's why Maya covers our consciousness. But if spiritual life means your faith actually goes much beyond this life, one life. One should just think about what was my previous life, who were my parents, who were my friends, what was my place of staying. We have no clue. And now the same thing will happen next life we go, all these things will be forgotten. Just like in dream. In dream sometimes you create a different scenario and you forget your present body. And you are absorbed in different things. In a dream also you forget your present life. And people sometimes say, I don't remember my past life. In dream sometimes person completely forget his present life, right? You have experiences. Sometimes you get a dream that you are in school, although you are doing job. Sometimes people get a dream that he is writing exam. And his exam paper is very tough. You know. And then you get up, already I have given those exams. Everything is gone. You know. Such kind of dreams you had sometimes. Sometimes you are just flying in the air. You don't know where are you. Your body is still lying, that you are not unconscious that you are sleeping. You are doing something else. Same thing is that we have done so much in our past lives and now we have forgotten completely about it. So we are getting tossed like this, and every time getting tossed is sufferings. Parabhavastavad means one feels a very great defeat. Especially in the old age, people struggle a lot. From one battle to another, they have been battling with their material nature. When they have young body, they are battling. And when body becomes old, they have to battle just with this body, to digest the food, to evacuate the food, to reduce the pain of the body. So that battle reduces to battling with one's own body only. Take care of this body, dealing with this body. He wants to eat lot of things, he cannot digest. He wants to take proper rest, he cannot sleep. He wants respect from the people don't respect. Old age is a very painful experience. Very, very defeating experience. And when some other want to hold the body, body is also taken away. Finally, nothing remains with it. So such kind of experiences you get in the present life also before that. Sometimes something is taken away from us. How much you feel pain. That we can understand how much pain I will feel at the time of death. One can estimate by those things. Krishna consciousness means person becomes totally detached. Vishwaku Maharaj was doing such a great austerity, not to get any position, nothing in the material world. He just wanted the Lord, service of the Lord. And therefore, he was not allured by any pleasures of this material world. We are allured by the Maya to the degree we are having our own independent plans to enjoy this material world. When we have a desire to serve Krishna. And then the deity came to Ikshvaku and Brahma was feeling very bad. Brahma was thinking, the news went to Brahma that Ikshvaku is performing tapasya. Great austerities for getting this deity. So the Brahma went to the Lord, deities, and he was feeling, my dear Lord, seems that you want to go down. What will happen to me? You are my life and soul. Lord told him, yes, I have to go because Ikshvaku is wanting me so much. But He said, don't worry that I will remain with you also. He said that material world, the time flows different rates now. Here, Brahmaloka, you offer me morning Mangalarti. So meantime I will go down. For many, many yugas I will remain there and I will come back before the next offering. Before 12 o'clock offering I will come back here. So that time will be many, many yugas past. And Ikshvaku Maharajis are also will be fulfilled like that. So Lord fulfilled both desires, Brahmas and Vishwakus. And then Ranganathji came down like that. And then later on in the same dynasty, Lord Ramchandra came. And Lord Ramchandra was so pleased with Vibhishan. Vibhishan also was so much attached to Lord Ram that he did not want to go back to Lanka. So he said, I have no desire to go back to Lanka. Lord said, but it's your duty. I have already made you the king of Lanka. You should go. And then he said, I cannot live without you. And then he said, you take these deities, which is not different from me. So Lord Ram gave him that deity which has been worshipped since Ikshvaku's time by everybody in the Raghu dynasty. Because of Vibhishan was so attached to Lord Ram. So he got this deity. And when he was taking this deity, the king at that time was Dharmavarman, who was the king of the present Ranganath temple is there. He also had gone to see and he was very attached to the deity. He was performing tapasya here to get the deity. And when Vibhishan came there, Vibhishan on the way he thought, let me meet my friend. He was a friend of, both were very close friends. So the deity was kept in the Srirangam place now. And so that the Dharmavarma also can take darshan and everything. And then he requested that actually this is a time when there is a 9-day festivals which are celebrated by all the previous kings for this deity. So this time has come, so let us celebrate that festival here only. The very nice, very big celebration happened 9 days. After that, Vibhishan was trying to lift the deity. Deity was not getting lifted. Trying. Why, my dear Lord, what is your desire? He said, I want to stay here only. This is my actual home. It's all Kaveri river and this is actually my place of residence. And this Dharmavarman also want me to very desperately here. All these devotees here also want. And I understand you are also my devotee. You also love me so much. You love me so much that you will want to see always that what is pleasing to me. So it is my desire that I stay here. Vibhishan said, it's nice idea, I will also stay here only. Wonderful idea, I can stay in this place only. And then the Lord said, no, you have to go back to Lanka. That is your service appointed to you, Lord Ram. So you should go there. But I will always be facing towards your place and you will never feel that I am not there with you. Experience will always get. I will be watching at you. Like that the Lord gave the promise to him and then the Vibhishan left like that. So you can see all these devotees who are so attached to serving and pleasing the Lord. Whatever austerities they were doing, their goal was not to get some material powers, not to show up anybody, but their love and devotion. That's why such austerities doesn't remain austerities at all. Aradito Hari tapasatatakim. If one is worshipping Lord Hari, what is the need of austerity? That is said like that. But actually its meaning, where is the austerity remains? That everything becomes a joyful experience. For us it's austerity, looking like that. Prabhupada said that Goswami is living in Vrindavan, living under a different tree. They are inspired by the Lord to show conditioned souls how the material great souls are independent of this material world at all. They are not attached to anything of this world. But Prabhupada said actually for us is austerity what we see to Goswamis, but Goswamis were not feeling austerities. They were joyful to see Krishna and Radha's wonderful Leela every time. They were not bothered about what is happening to their material things. They are not even conscious about. They were rather feeling great ecstasy every moment in Vrindavan. For us, it looks very austere life, living under tree, different, and living only with the one cloth and everything, eating only just a simple food. But because they were absorbed in Krishna consciousness, Radha and Krishna was every time interacting with them. It's not that the life is full of dryness and frustration and somehow or other we want to do it. That's why we should not imitate them. We should do it whatever has been told to us in a Krishna consciousness. That is inspired by the Lord to them to show us how wonderful is Krishna consciousness. That they don't care for anything of material world. Aradhito Hari yadi tapasa tatakim na aradhito yadi tapasa tatakim. If you are not worshipping Lord Hari, what is the use of your austerity? There are so many demons have performed great austerities. Hiranyakashipu did such severe austerity. Ravana did such severe austerity. But they had material goals. Hiranyakashipu, his body was eaten by ants, still he was doing austerity. In the skeleton he was living. That means no sense gratification. In skeleton, what will he do? Sense gratification. But he had a big false ego and he wanted to have sense gratification in a bigger scale. So he could tolerate all those sense gratification. Lack of sense gratification. So sometimes we undergo a lot of austerities to get something bigger austerity, bigger sense gratification. Name, fame, pujalla, pratishtha from the people. I am so great. Actually, austerity should melt our hearts. We should feel humbled down. We should feel that Krishna is so kind. I am so still attached to so many things of this material world. Austerity should see that my heart is getting purified by Krishna's grace. Krishna is so kind and is giving me opportunity. There is no question of becoming proud. Devotee sees that other devotees need not. I need to do austerities because I am so conditioned. This is the right mode. Not that when you do austerity you criticize others. These are sense gratifiers. I am so great. That means our false ego is getting feasting. We may be fasting nirjala and criticizing others. That means our false ego is getting big feast. Feasting, looking strong. I am so great. Rather the devotee thinks I need to do it because I am uncontrolled mind and senses. Other devotees, they should enjoy. They can be happy. They are serving Krishna nicely. They need not follow all those things. So we need to get absorbed in Krishna consciousness. That is what is our need. And otherwise we will get absorbed in somewhere in Maya. So devotee feels blessed when you are doing services. Krishna is saving me. Not that I am so great that nobody is serving. I am only doing everything. And this is not consciousness. If really we are Krishna conscious, we will feel I have been blessed. I have been protected by Krishna. Otherwise I will go in Maya. This is the consciousness of devotee. And others are not doing, you feel sorry that this devotee is going away from Krishna because of not doing. You feel actually compassion for them. Not that you become critical. No, you feel sorry for them. Exactly like sometimes a nice feast is made and somebody is not eaten. You feel, oh, this devotee did not get. Like that you feel also, he lost the opportunity to render service. We don't criticize, the person has not got something. We feel that, oh, this devotee was not there, he could not get this nice feast. So like that it is. So those who are not getting serving Krishna, they are the loser. We are getting opportunity to render service. We should be happy for that. That consciousness is very pleasing to Krishna. And a devotee is seeing that. This all the things what we are receiving is simply mercy in life. Mm. And this is what exactly get. Instead of serving Maya under different names, if one turns his service attitude towards the Supreme Lord, then he is safe and there is no more difficulty. So this service attitude, not even service one is attached. One is attached to service attitude. Developing the service attitude means whatever is required to please Krishna. Attachment to service, sometimes we may get attached to particular service because it is giving me some sense gratification. But if one is attached to Krishna, like these examples also, all these devotees, Brahma, they were actually attached to Krishna. And it is pleasing to Krishna that Krishna wanted to be with Ikshvaku, then fine, whatever is. They were requesting, it was not they were frustrated. Vibhishan also, he saw, okay, Lord wants to be with Dharma Varma. So he accepted it, although it was heartbreaking for him. But he understands that it is what the Lord wants. So the attachment to service and service attitude. Service attitude means whatever is required to serve Krishna. That attitude of service. It's not a particular service. If not this service, some other way. I should be absorbed somehow or other in serving Krishna and pleasing Krishna. Because if one turns his service attitude towards the Supreme Lord, then he is safe and there is no more difficulty. If one returns to his original natural tendency in human form of life, by understanding the perfect knowledge given by Krishna himself, one's life is successful. जीव कृष्णदास ए विश्वास कर लेतार दुख नाई. Okay, any questions, comments? Without presence of the spirit soul, the material body cannot move. The body is only the dead vehicle to be worked by the spirit soul, which is always active and cannot stop even for a moment. As such, the spirit soul has to be engaged in the good work of Krishna consciousness, otherwise it will be engaged in the occupational dictated by illusory energy. In contact with material energy, the spirit soul acquires material modes, and to purify the soul from that affinities, it is necessary to engage in the prescribed duties enjoined in the Shastras. But if the soul is engaged in its natural function of Krishna consciousness, whatever he is able to do is good for him. The Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17 affirms it this. Tyatva swadharmam charanam bhujam hare bhajanna apakvo pate tato yadi yatra ko abhadram amushya मुष्यकिम अभद्र अमुष्यकिम को अर्थ apto bhajatam swadharmatah. If someone takes to Krishna conscious, even though he may be not follow the prescribed duties in the Shastras or execute devotional service properly, and even though he may fall down from the standard, there is no loss or evil for him. But if he carries out all the injunctions for the purification of the Shastras, what does it avails him if he is not Krishna conscious? So the purificatory process is necessary for reaching to this point of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, sannyas or purificatory process is to help to reach the ultimate goal of becoming Krishna conscious, without which everyone is considered a failure. So that is the purpose of everything, to reach to this Krishna consciousness. And sannyas means actually detachment. If one can get same detachment while serving, there is no need of taking sannyas. That detachment is required. What is that detachment? Vairagya from this material world, going back to Krishna spiritual world. One is attached to serving Krishna. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगम शिक्षार्थमेकम पुरुष पुराणम. वैराग्य विद्या, दिस इज वैराग्य विद्या. Krishna consciousness, bhakti para isha anubhava viraktir अन्यत्र च. When you get experience of Krishna, you become detached from this dhanam, janam, sundarim, everything. One becomes detached naturally. Not that okay, bhakti is just simply another material enjoyment. No, this is enjoyment on transcendental platform. One will not be having any interest in this material enjoyment. One has no hankering for any of these material things. Yes, it's not necessary to take sannyas, that is there, but vairagya is required. That is the result of bhakti. Janayetyashu vairagyam jnanam cha ahetukim. Vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yoga prayojita. Everywhere it is said that if you practice bhakti, these two things will come. The real knowledge will dawn and renunciation will also come. Vairagya. I was hearing the story of Quresh. Quresh was actually king, a place called Kura, Ish. He was a Quresh. And he was so wealthy that he used to give charity from the morning to night. Anybody comes, he wants to keep on giving charity. His door would get closed in the middle of night, something like that. Last person giving charity. And once Lakshmi Devi heard, and she wanted to see Quresh, so she sent her servants to Quresh that Lakshmi Devi want to see Quresh for his such a charitable act. She is very pleased. And when Quresh heard this, he felt so embarrassed. He said, what is this? Lakshmi is wanting to see me for this my charitable act. Everything belongs to the Lord, nothing is belonged to me. I am so proud that I am thinking I am giving charity. Hell with this charity giving, he said. So he donated everything and he left everything, house and everything, and with his wife, let us go to Srirangam to dedicate our lives. With this consciousness, he stopped giving charity, means give everything, one shot. Renounce everything. And his wife, Andal, her name was. So they were on the way to Srirangam, going through the forest, and his wife was feeling very fearful. So many animals in the night going. She expressed her fear to her husband, I am feeling so fearful. He said, why are you feeling fearful? Are you still carrying something with you? He said, you donated everything. Are you still carrying something? He said, no, nothing. Everything except one bowl I am carrying, golden bowl, just to feed you food. The wife, she thought something should be there to when I give you food. He said, that's why you are feeling fearful, he said. You are still attached to that. And as long as you are attached to anything, you will feel fearful, he said. So then they threw away that bowl. And then she became fearless throughout her life next. And then they came to the Srirangam without carrying anything, just to serve the Lord. So these material attachments, they cause us these troubles in our lives. So bhakti means you become actually detached from everything. Bhakti para isha anubhava, you get experience of the Lord that naturally leads to detachment. Can you imagine? Lakshmi is calling him. And what happened to him? He became completely detached. He could have become proud that Lakshmi wants to see me, such a great fortune. He was feeling so embarrassed by this. And she wants to see me as a person who is giving charity. Everything belongs to her. What is greatness about it? And then the Kurish came and served his home is there also in Srirangam on the way, you can see, throughout his life. There in that place. Later on we have nice wonderful stories of Kurish also. He was not ready to ask anything for himself. Even his lost eyes also. Everything belonged to my spiritual master. Nothing is mine. So that is a real renunciation. That everything is Krishna's property, nothing is mine. Hmm. So that leads. Bhagavatam also says that Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Vasudeva Bhagavati Janayateshu Vairagyam. If you are really making advancement in spiritual path, that has two things. You get right knowledge about spiritual world, about Krishna, about the glories of devotional service, and then you naturally become detached from this material world's activities. Bhakti Parasya Anubhava Virakti Randyataj. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes very pleased when he sees that Vairagya. Right? Jaha dekhi priti hai Gaura Bhagwan. Gaurangera Bhaktagana Vairagya Pradhan. Those who are devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are Vairagya Pradhan. They are naturally detached. Whether they are householders, they are brahmacharis, they are grahasthas, or they are vanaprasthas, or they are sannyasis, whatever it is. Their natural quality is Mahaprabhu Bhaktagana Vairagya Pradhan. That means they are not attached to their material things. And wherever Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sees this detachment, he becomes very pleased. Jaha dekhi priti hai Gaura Bhagwan. People are afraid in this world for this becoming detached, renunciation. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes very pleased when he saw Raghunath Das Goswami becoming detached. He saw when the Sanatana Goswami gave away the blanket, new blanket given to him by his brother-in-law, Srikant. He said, your last trace of your attachment has been taken away by Krishna. Mahaprabhu said like this thing. No? Mahaprabhu was very pleased by his detachment. So that real detachment, not just the false renunciation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he says one is attached to Krishna, then that is real renunciation. That leads to natural detachment from this material world, everything. Otherwise, there is no attachment to Krishna, only is hallucination. They are actually becoming attached to Krishna. The proof is, just like you are becoming healthy, the proof is your fever is going away or your disease is going away. You are feeling very nice, happy. That is the proof. You feel healthy. Doctor asks you, are you feeling healthy now? Similarly, Krishna consciousness also like that. You feel liberated. Oh, I am released from all these things. When Bharat Maharaj left his kingdom, which was even appreciated by the demigods, his ruling was so expert. Not that out of frustration he left. He thought, what is need of my life is more important for spiritual practices. After ruling successfully, he handed over it in young age and left. Not that he had become old. And that, since that time, this place is called Bharat. That means how wonderful he must have ruled, that demigods were impressed by his ruling. And how he left? Bhagavatam says, just like one passes stool and doesn't look at it. Malavad Drudham. How? Uttama Shloka Lalasa. Because he had great attachment to the Supreme Lord. That's why he could leave it like that, not looking back also. Oh, I had such a big kingdom I have left. No. Because he had Uttama Shloka Lalasa so much that he did not feel that I have renounced something great. Do you feel renounced after evacuating? Like that he felt exactly. All successful kingdom of this entire earth planet, having wife, children, everything, such a wealth. So that is how Krishna consciousness is that. Natural consequences of attachment to Krishna is detachment from this material world. So the Mayavadis, they can never understand this. What is the meaning of being active in Krishna's service? How devotee can chant, dance, sing and serve Krishna. They think it's all bhaukta, material activities. And then they will try to renounce from so-called renunciation from all this and they will engage in social service. These are Mayavadis are by opening hospitals and by opening schools and by so many, and in the name of spiritual practices. But actually, real renunciation is that devotee is always, whatever he may be doing, he may be doing job, business, everything, he is only attachment to Krishna. And anytime those things are secondary for him. His main focus is to please Krishna, whatever is required. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.